Welcome to WP Coffee Talk. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and especially to our espresso level sponsors, Helix Managed WordPress Hosting, for both their sponsorship and for hosting our site, and to Expander Digital for both their sponsorship and providing SEO services to us. Now enjoy the episode. Welcome to WP Coffee Talk, where we get to talk to amazing people in the WordPress community all over the world. And today, coming to us from Chicago, Illinois, we have Donata and Hans from Termageddon. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, doing well. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm good, thanks. We're both in cold climates, so I talk to people who are in warm climates and I'm just jealous, but we both just can commiserate because we basically are right off the Great Lakes and we just get dumped on and cold, so.
That's right. Well, it's a great excuse to say, well, I'm just pale only because it's, cold outside and there's no sun, In the summer, I have no excuse.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm normal, so.
I just use I don't want skin cancer.
There you go. That's an all-around good strategy.
It has nothing to do with just being an indoor girl. So I had the pleasure of meeting you guys at WordCamp US this year when you walked into the organizer room with giant boxes of cookies.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you that nothing comes closer to an organizer's heart than chocolate chip cookies during WordCamp US. So those were a huge hit. Thank you so much for bringing those in for us. And it gave me the opportunity to have a little chat with you, get to know you, and invite you to be on the show, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we had a really good time at WordCamp US. So it was my first really large WordCamp. So I was prepared ahead of time, and everybody just said, you're not going to sleep for 2 days. And I think they were pretty much on point with that. So it was a good event.
It was an awesome time, and it was great meeting you too. And I appreciate you accepting all 2,000 cookies that we dropped off. Our sponsorship idea did not go to plan. I didn't read the rules, and I'm just so happy that from that mistake, a great opportunity came. So
yeah, it was fantastic. And I mean, all of the volunteers and the organizers were like, yes, people are feeding us. So it worked out well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
Cool.
Yeah.
You take it.
Okay.
You got it.
So I'm a privacy lawyer. I'm a certified information privacy professional, and I'm the president of Termageddon. And Termageddon is a generator of website policies. So we generate privacy policies, terms of service, disclaimers, and end user license agreements for websites and apps. And we auto-update them whenever the laws change.
And my name is Hans. I'm the co-founder of Termageddon. I oversee sales and marketing at the company. Prior to that, I ran a 12-person web agency in downtown Chicago for 7 years. That's why I lost all my hair. I sold that business, went full-time Termageddon, and I focus on agency partnerships at the company, where we give web agencies a free set of our policies in the hopes they like our product enough to want to offer it to their clients and make a new recurring revenue stream for themselves while helping their clients get protected. So.
That's awesome. So I have to tell you, I was the person on at the WordCamp US organizer team who was tweeting out the thank yous for all of the sponsors. So I made the little cards and things that went out on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And so I got to Termageddon and I was like, this sounds like an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It's like the cross between the Terminator and Armageddon. And it made me think, and I was like, I wonder what this company does. So of course, I went and read up about it and everything, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, because if you don't have the right terms and conditions going, it really could be Armageddon for your business.
That's right.
So,
and Terminator.com was taken, so we went with Termageddon. So
I like it. It gives you the necessary impetus to think this might be something important.
Yeah.
Right?
And also kind of fun and not super boring like it usually would be. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just like term flowers would not be as interesting as Termageddon.
We try to go extreme regardless of what we do. So
go big or go home, right?
Right, exactly.
That's great. Show me your mugs. I got a little glimpse of Hans's earlier, but let me see your mugs.
I have this flower mug that I've had for the last 5 years.
And then this says, does this ring make me look engaged? meaning that I took it from Donata and I'm borrowing the mug.
It was a gift. It was a gift.
Yeah.
I'm not taking responsibility for that mug.
So yeah, we are a couple. We are a thing. We created Termageddon actually before GDPR was even existent. You know, we ended up getting engaged
we got
and everything
like
and all
a
that
year
stuff.
ago.
But we realized that we kind of have to like let people know because we drink out of like the same cans and stuff. Like we don't even realize it. Like, and so like we were talking to one web agency and they're like, "You guys are really close over there at Termageddon, huh?" And I'm like,
we're like close
we're like,
team.
"Yeah, we're close." Like, yeah, of course. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are drinking out of the same coffee mug." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're engaged." So that's hopefully that'll explain why.
I love it. My daughter got engaged this year, and I bought her a mug very similar to that, so she could take it to work. It was fun.
Congratulations, that's
Oh,
awesome.
thanks. It's very exciting, and I'm excited to hear your news too. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's been over a year now, and we haven't planned a single thing for a wedding because of Termageddon. So at least that's what I like to tell myself.
So that's when you go, is it really worth it, or do we just go to Vegas? Isn't there a WordCamp in Vegas? Can't we get married at WordCamp Vegas?
Well, it's funny that you say that. We're part of a couple of Facebook groups, and the admin bar was like, we want a live feed of your wedding. So we are going to live feed it for the WordPress community. So
just in case
sure to
you
send
want
you a
to
link.
spend your time watching that.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what I did. Our first WordCamp Rochester ever, I was the lead organizer. It was like I was the founding person, whatever. And I was like, so when should we have this? Oh, look, October 15th is a Saturday. Let's have it on October 15th. Well, that also happens to be my birthday. So 140 people were there. A lot of my WordPress friends. WordPress paid for the after party. So WordPress paid for my birthday party.
Nice.
See, you get married at WordCamp Vegas or something like that.
That's awesome.
Automatic to foot the bill. We'll be good to go.
they can pay for the reception after party.
Hint, Matt, if you're listening.
Our actual wedding is just like it's one of the speech slots.
Yeah. It's not even the keynote speech. It's like just one of the random ones.
Yeah. Oh, and after lunch we have, polishing up your SEO, ways to connect with your customers. Oh, and Donata and Hans are getting married. I love it.
We're passed out from a huge lunch, like they're sleeping while we're getting married.
What's in your mug today? What are you drinking?
I have cold brew.
And I have Coca-Cola Classic.
I have my college mug. So this was, you can see class of 91. I am old. And all of our names are on this mug. So somewhere in here, in all those red marks, my name.
That's awesome. Now, what state is that?
I live in Rochester, New York, and this is Roberts Wesleyan College right here in Rochester.
That's awesome. Very cool. My mom and dad went to a school called Wesleyan in our hometown, which is Central Illinois. Illinois Wesleyan University. So really
same tradition, I'm sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm drinking turmeric tea. Something just a little bit warm tonight. So there we go.
Yeah, great for the weather out.
Yeah,
for sure. Now, I understand how somebody who's been in the web design business gets involved with WordPress. How does a lawyer end up in WordPress? So what's your origin story? How did you guys end up, get started with WordPress?
So I started with WordPress back when I was in law school, and I worked for a software and website development firm. So I actually was doing their books, and then I did their operations, and we did a lot of projects in WordPress. So that's how I started with it. And that's actually how Hans and I met. He bought the company that I was working for.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize it, but after I bought the company, I was asking her out on a date where she thought, after I bought the company, I was just asking her out for more information and stuff. But as she so lovingly puts it, I knew something was up when you showed up on time wearing blue jeans and a nice pair of shoes.
And not sweatpants.
Sweatpants. So she knew something was up.
I love it. You're like, I liked you so much, I bought the whole company.
Right?
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, but you did WordPress because you did website design in your agency, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I've been a part of the industry for 7.5 years.
Very good.
Best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah. So the most liberating thing, I can definitely say that. You're the best thing that ever happened.
And you're all in the same thing, so it all works out. So that's
Yeah,
That's
there
right.
you go.
that's awesome.
But yeah, we were having dinner one night, and I don't know who came up with the exact idea. I think we kind of defined it as something we created together. I was just expressing my frustrations of not having a good referral source. I was frustrated because clients, right when you're about to launch their website, I swear, 3 days before site launch, they say, "What should I do for a privacy policy?" And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, I didn't even suggest one. Like, I don't know, like, call an attorney. I'm a web designer. I have no idea what you should do." And I was expressing that frustration.
Yeah, and I was writing privacy policies and terms of service for my clients and charging a lot of money for it. And not a lot of people could afford that. And then also I found myself using very similar questions, very similar language. And I was kind of getting sick of writing the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, you could just automate this pretty easily for small businesses. And that's kind of how we came to it.
That's really cool. I love that story, actually. It's neat when it's like so many people say, well, I just kind of fell into it. But you have a very specific and well thought out strategy into it. And I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
it all came together.
It really, over one dinner, we were just like, we have something here. And then after we figured out the name should be Termageddon, and we're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's pull that trigger.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to guess that I already know what the answer will be to the next question. But the next question is, what do you think is something that people skip on or don't focus enough attention on when building websites?
Yeah, I would say privacy policies is definitely the main one. So we see a lot of people building websites that collect personal information, so like contact forms and newsletter opt-ins. And what a lot of web designers don't realize is that when you're collecting personal information, that's when a lot of these privacy laws apply. So we do see a lot of websites without those particular policies in place, even though they should really have them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm the same on that one. So
what she said.
Yeah. And I could go for hours and hours talking about other things and stuff, but exactly. So
yeah, that's your specialty. I completely understand. What's something that you wish you had known earlier in your WordPress career that you've learned since then that might have made life a little easier?
So I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
There's something called tip of the iceberg, which is like in web design, maybe not so much WordPress, but web design as a whole, is like the epitome of the tip of the iceberg experience. Because as a web designer, you want to give users the most minimal experience possible so they can get from point A to point B as effortlessly as possible. Well, before you start building websites, you're like, oh, websites are so easy. Cause like, look at, Amazon.com. I just click this button, then click this button, and then I bought something. So it must be really cheap to make Amazon.com, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, actually there's a lot more that goes into a website than just what meets the user experience. In fact, it turns out there can be multiple user experience for one website. That's my insight I would put in. So
yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people are of that belief, especially when you're first starting out and you're freelancing and you're meeting with customers and they have that mindset. Oh, how hard could it be? It's like I want to say to people, well, how hard is your job?
Exactly. So
because I put that kind of time and effort into mine too.
And to make things a little bit more actionable, like, okay, so if you are new and you're listening to this podcast, first, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of so many people that don't realize, even if you're in WordPress for business purposes, like there is still a community of people that will support you and you can support them. And like when you surround yourself with that community, you can learn those hardships way, way, way faster. You don't have to lose this if you just realize that there's like literally a community of people out there ready to help you. So.
Oh, that's very true. Very, very true. When you think back over the WordPress meetups and the WordPress or WordCamps that you've been to, any other WordPress events, is there like, excuse me, a moment or an event or something that just kind of was like truly inspirational to you? Whether it was something like maybe you were giving a talk, maybe you saw a talk, or just kind of met somebody in the hallway track. And what was it?
I have two. Yeah. I feel so bad because I can't remember his name. It was so moving, I even forgot his name. An individual at WordCamp Jackson, Michigan spoke on accessibility and really kind of discussed how accessibility is not something you just get. You don't say, oh, I'm going to purchase accessibility, and now your website's accessible for the rest of your career. Like, no, accessibility is a practice, something that goes on and on and on. And that was something that really changed my mindset. I really wanted to offer like an accessibility solution for users or something like that. And sorry, it's not that easy. It turns out you got to actually dig deep and like work hard at focusing on creating accessible websites. So that's number one. And then I'd actually like to say at WordCamp DFW this year, Mike Demo spoke on entrepreneurship and just being in the industry, and just everything he said, I was just like, I just felt my 7 years of experience running an agency. I'm like, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. So I was just sitting there like head nodding the whole time, like, yes, is everyone listening? Listen, so those would be my two that really impacted me.
He is an encyclopedia.
He's unbelievable. He's like one of the smartest people I've ever met.
I agree. Yeah. So anything different for you, Donata? Or?
I really enjoyed those two for sure. I think for me, it was Ryan Kinney's speech at WordCamp US. I really enjoyed that. So she's a privacy and technology lawyer too, and she does a lot of contracts for agency owners, which is something that I used to do. But it's always, so I do a lot of privacy talks that I listen to, and I give privacy talks, and it was really nice and impactful for me as a privacy lawyer to hear another privacy lawyer kind of break things down in an easy to understand way and like really tell it the way it is to other people who are interested in privacy and building websites and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed her speech. I really liked her as a person as well. So it's kind of interesting because we formed almost like a friendship, which is,
I think, a real friendship.
I sent her cookies like a couple
Not an
weeks
almost.
back.
Oh, I saw those on Twitter.
I never want to assume anything. I don't want to be like, I'm friends with Ryan Kinney, and then she's like, no, you're not. But it was really nice to see somebody who was open to talking to somebody who others might see potentially as like even a competitor, and is interested in growing the field, and interested in talking to other privacy lawyers as well, which was really, really nice to see. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Tell a little bit more about Termageddon. So how do people get involved? What do you bring to the table? What are you supplying for people? I mean, talk a little bit about how it works.
Sure. Yeah. So I think to start with I'd like to take one step back and just talk about the problem, which I think so many people are not aware of, which I think is important to acknowledge. So we all know GDPR, the one set of rules to protect all European citizens. If you're a business processing data from the European Union, from citizens of the European Union, you need to abide to these specific laws. Great. Well, maybe great's too easy of a statement compared to like what we all went through. But in America, we don't have a federal law for privacy. We have individual states proposing their own unique privacy laws. And what people need to realize is that these states are creating laws to protect their citizens, not the businesses. They don't care where the business is located. They are setting up rules to protect the citizens of that state. And each of these privacy laws being proposed or already implemented are unique, and they have unique penalties. Some of these states are proposing that businesses can be fined. Some states, like New York, are proposing that businesses of any size, located anywhere, could be sued by a citizen of New York, for example, for having a website with a contact form without a privacy policy, without a compliant privacy policy. And that's what we're trying to let people be aware of. And that's why we have like a state privacy tracker on our website, which you can see what states are proposing what and how does that all lay out. So, what we're all about is education. And that's why we get on so many podcasts. That's why we invested heavily into our backdrop here of, wood and Amazon toys and trinkets that we attached. We're trying to get the message out about what's happening in America with privacy laws. And we believe we're doing it in a way where we give web agencies a free set of our policies. No credit card required. You get one for free. We want you to test it out, try it out yourself. We want you to protect your own agency website. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, we also have this like training course where you can like learn more about data privacy. And like we try to message web agency owners, you do not have to be a data privacy expert to be able to say, hey, I think you should have a privacy policy, client. Now you go find a solution, or maybe you can suggest a solution like Termageddon to them. So that's kind of our business model, and that's what we're focused on.
Yeah.
And I guess like if I were to say like I believe in anything, like I see a world 5 years from now where we're going to look back at this time and be like, remember back in the day when like human beings couldn't tell companies to get rid of their data? Like what kind of world was that? And that's the world I see. I see a world where we as humans can tell companies, get rid of my data, and they have to. Plain and simple. And it's really cool to be a part of that story. That's what I'm enjoying.
Yeah, and in terms of the actual solution, basically you would go on our website.
I didn't answer the question.
Like literally what we do.
Did not answer the question.
But your personal opinion, sure.
This is why we make one person. I know you're interviewing two people, but it's actually just one coherent person.
So basically what you do, you go on our site and answer a few questions that are specific to your website. So like, what data do you collect? What do you do with that data? And then our software would generate an embed code, and the embed code would go on your privacy policy page, and that's what displays the actual policy. And the embed code allows us to control that text, so we can update it for you when the laws change. So for example, on October 1st, Nevada's new privacy bill went into effect. So we updated our clients' privacy policies to make the Nevada disclosure to make sure that their privacy policies are compliant. So I keep track of all of the privacy laws. So January 1st, there's a new California law going into place. There's 9 other states that have proposed their own privacy bills. So I keep track of all of that and make the necessary changes and updates when those changes occur.
That's exciting, actually, and very innovative, because I don't know anybody else that's doing this.
Thank you. There are a few generators out there, just full disclosure, there are, and they do fine work. We believe our work is better, but outside of that,
I think everybody says that.
Yeah, who doesn't, what business doesn't say that? Yeah. So our focus is, what I can say is we are the only agency focused on or we are the only generator focused on web agency partnerships, working with the WordPress community, sponsoring and participating and helping people get educated on this stuff so they can help their clients.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So if somebody wants to, I mean, you're saying agency, but could an individual, like WPCoffeeTalk, could I just put your free version on my website?
So you can buy licenses at $10 a month or $99 a year. And that's how you can set up your own policies to get protected. Gotcha. Web agencies get a free license for themselves, but someone like WPCoffeeTalk would be happy to give you one for free. And anyone else who's listening that's in the industry that believe, hey, if you have people that might be listening that might benefit from this, like, let us know. We're happy to help out. And we can even set up like a promo code for the end users that simply just need a website protection.
So like a freelance. So like a freelancer even has their own little agency, but they're, when I was freelancing, I built over 300 websites in about 6 years. That's the kind of person you're looking to talk to, because that's the kind of person.
You work with
freelancers, agencies. It's a very interchangeable word in my mind. I've met so many people just like you who said, I've built 300 websites in 6 years. Like, to me, that sounds like you're running an agency. Like, that's a crazy amount of websites. It's amazing. And that's awesome. So yeah, agency.
They weren't all Amazon. I mean, some of them are really tiny, but still, yeah.
Hey, yeah, 300 is 300 people to speak to. That's a lot of work.
That was a lot of work. That's awesome. So the idea is then that you get to, is it terms and conditions and privacy? Is it one document?
Yeah. It's so one package has the privacy policy, terms of service, disclaimer, and end user license agreement. And it has all the protections in that one price. So we don't do the whole, like, do you want this to display on mobile? Okay, $25 more. No, you get everything in one price.
Yeah.
And $99 a year is phenomenally cheap. I mean,
awesome.
That's, and the investment into your own business and the protection for yourself is so worth it. Absolutely.
And the other thing I want people to know too is, like, you can live chat us, you can message us. Like, we want to answer your questions because we know this stuff is really intense, and not as like the expert, and all that stuff, but I've even picked up on everything she's teaching. Like, if I can get it, you can get it.
It's just osmosis at this point.
You just whisper it in his ear while he's sleeping, right?
Yeah. I fall asleep. She puts on headphones.
Yeah.
I'm being hypnotized into learning data privacy.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
that's
sweet.
how we do
Don't whisper things in my ear. Whisper law.
GDPR.
GP.
And I think too, it's important to note. What I run, the meetup. I would say run. I coordinate the meetup here in Rochester, New York, and a lot of people have questions about terms and conditions and privacy policies and all those kinds of things. And when GDPR really made its big splash, the big question was, oh well, it ships with WordPress now, so it's already in there. But what comes with WordPress is not sufficient, and people need to know that. I mean, it's a start.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. It is covering so much ground. It's impressive what's out there and everything like that. But if you want to take it to that next step, and really make sure you're paying someone to just keep compliant. Like we're handling policies for a business, which is a subset of what WordPress is. Yes, it's a big part, but it's a subset by definition. WordPress is a blogging system that people have taken and done beautiful things with. Operating business websites is just one of those. And that's why that's where our focus is, helping businesses get protection.
Yeah. And one set of terms and conditions privacy policy does not fit all. So if I'm in New York versus I'm in Nevada versus I'm in Germany, it's all going to be different. And so that's where you all step in, is you're looking at this state by state. You're making sure that everybody who's in New York is compliant to New York, and that kind of thing. So it's just super important to know what's going on. And if you're a web designer, that's not your area of expertise. Your area of expertise is design. So it makes sense to invest in, in software, in the knowledge that you guys bring to the table.
Right. And as a WordPress professional too, I mean, I got to say, so I keep track of all of these laws, and I have to say it's a full-time job. Trying to interpret all of it and reading all the cases and all the different rules and regulations, it takes a lot of time. And if you're doing WordPress work, I mean, you're already probably working like 12 hours a day. So adding that as something that you have to keep track of for every single client and then update all their policies and stuff, it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you do use one of the online generators and then you just generate a static terms and conditions, it's not going to always be up to date. So
it'll be obsolete in 30 days when, California's law goes into effect or other laws go into effect. So.
Yeah. And I update our privacy bill tracker probably once a month or more than once a month, just because so many states are coming out with new bills, because this is something that's really hot right now. And Facebook kind of messed it up for everyone else.
Yeah.
Ever since Cambridge Analytica, it's kind of been top priority for legislators now. So that's really what they're focusing on.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So thank you for what you do, for sure, because I think it's definitely necessary. It's one of those things that people don't think about. It's like there's other parts of website people don't think about. At the end, they're like, oh, I should probably have security on here. Maybe I should think about backing this thing up,
Yeah.
So it isn't the pretty, it's not the pretty header and the hero image, but it's the stuff that is super important. When I first started my freelancing agency, I met with a local insurance agent, and I said, I understand I should have errors and omissions as a web designer. And I was the only web designer that I knew personally that had errors and omissions. Now, luckily, I never had to call on it. But heaven forbid I put that somebody had a 50% sale instead of a 5% sale, I would have been pretty in trouble, right? So it's just those kinds of little things to protect yourself. And, for a small investment like that, it really, really makes sense.
Can I make a point that's only funny to lawyers?
Oh, I bet.
Wait,
here's where everyone turns it off right now.
So
I'll even pretend to laugh.
Okay, thank you. So terms of service will actually protect you if you have accidentally put 50% off instead of 5%. So if you have in your terms of service saying that, we can make changes to pricing at any time and the pricing might not be accurate, you can actually contact that customer who paid or who wants to pay 50% off and say, sorry, we made a mistake, it's only 5%. So terms of service can actually protect you in case of those kinds of mistakes.
Wow. But that's a joke? I don't know.
It's kind of funny
It's
because
just like a
she's like,
crazy-
you know, I have errors and omissions for this, but then it's like, oh, terms of service actually helps with this too. Okay, I'll stop
Nice.
now.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Yay. Good job.
I will say that was very interesting because I
Yeah, I was
had
gonna say interesting is a good description.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
it's good information. Good information.
For sure.
Well, let me move into my rapid fire questions, and we'll see what you guys have for answers for these. And some of them I'm going to want to hear answers from both of you, so I'll let you know how that goes. But what are 2 or 3 must-have plugins that you would say somebody would need, that you would recommend to somebody building a website?
I'll pick one.
Yeah.
Yoast.
WP feedback.
Those are both really good. I agree. Anything else that you'd throw in there?
Gravity Forms. Actually, or WS Forms, a hot and up and coming form generator. And boy, do they move fast with upgrades to their form system.
Yeah.
So.
Or give WP if you're processing payments for donations,
nice.
or, you know, just say it.
You don't get paid as a guest, but, you know, I'll double your pay anyway.
Thank you.
From 0 to
Show
0.
up nothing.
That's right. 12 years I was on the school board in Hilton, and people are like, how much do you get paid? I'm like, we don't. It's a volunteer thing. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, but we doubled our salary this year. At any point in your WordPress journey, have you had a mentor, whether it was an official mentor or somebody that kind of just took you under their wing? And if not that, then somebody that you definitely look up to and follow because they're like a mentor.
I'll answer.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a business partner, although he wasn't in the WordPress community. He was just a businessman. But I have had a mentor that I got from just networking, and it proved to be very fruitful and beneficial for me to kind of shift my mind from wanting to just give away myself for free, basically, to being like, oh, wait, my time is worth money, and I should not just do stuff for free because I naturally kind of want to just do the right thing for human beings. Like, you kind of got to make a living, too.
Yeah, it's the difference between freelancing at your kitchen table or in a cardboard box.
That's exactly right. Once you realize you should respect yourself and you respect your own time is when you go with your company.
Exactly.
So that's a good outlook.
Yeah.
What about you, Donna? Have you had a mentor? Probably in law?
I don't have a mentor, but I personally look up to Ryan Kinney again. Sorry, this is just like a Ryan Kinney podcast now. But I definitely really look up to her and what she does in this space.
I heard if you say her name 3 times, she says you cookies. No.
Or she appears. Like,
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's great. Who is someone, I'm sorry, I'm reading my questions because I'm having so much fun, I forgot what comes next. Who is someone in the WordPress community that you admire and why? And you can't say Ryan Kinney, you have to say somebody else's name.
Man, you took my answer.
Oh boy.
I can take this one while you
yeah,
think.
go ahead. I have 3, but
okay.
I want to go fast.
I personally admire Adam Silver from the Kitchen Sink podcast. I think he's really great. He's a very nice person to talk to. He has a lot of very good insights in the industry because he's just been in it for so long. And we've met him at WordCamp Jackson and WordCamp US, and he's a good person. I really like him.
And I got to go with Dan Maybe with
WP and Up.
WP and Up. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was saying give WP. I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. With WP and Up, I think his outlook in life and in what he's done with WP and Up has been really impressive. And he's the second person I met after selling my agency and then going full-time Termageddon, and I was in London by myself about to attend an event, and I had a beer with him. And he was kind of like the first person I met in the WordPress community. So
he is super cool.
So anyways.
Yeah.
All
Sorry,
right.
there's a cat.
I know, I love the tail against your face. That's great. You said you had 3 though. Who are the other 2?
The husband and wife behind WordFence.
Yeah.
Yes. They are awesome, and it's really assuring. And I can't remember their names.
Mark.
I'm so sorry. Mark and Amy. Anyways, the founders behind WordFence. You can Google search it. They were inspirational because a husband and wife combo have made it in the software as a service industry, servicing the WordPress industry. know?
And one didn't kill the other, and they're still alive and happy.
Exactly. Yeah, they seem to be like happy with each other. So awesome.
Yeah,
Really
so
happy to see
Louise
it.
is actually really interested in privacy. I think she's going to get the CIPP certification.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you guys have similar things as far as protection and that kind of stuff, so it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's something that you'd like to learn in WordPress still, but you haven't tackled yet?
Back-end development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an easy for me. I want to get better with the language of PHP. As I grew my agency, that was always my plan. But my staff just got better than me, and I was running the business while they were improving their experience, and I never got to it, and I was always jealous, and I remain jealous. So I want to take the time. Have you heard of 100 Days of Code?
I have. I've been seeing the hashtag out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing. As I understand, you just hashtag each and every day. You code for 100 straight days, an hour each day, and there's no agenda. You just have to do it. Otherwise, you can get like trash talked on Twitter. So it seems like something I would do well with. Like, all right, I don't want to get trash talked, so I'm just gonna learn how to code. So.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
What about you, Donata?
So I'm not a technical person at all. So I would like to know more about privacy by design and how to incorporate that into WordPress. I think the idea of privacy by design itself is really good, but I would like to see like how that's actually applied from a technical perspective.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. What's the biggest WordPress mistake you've ever made, and what did you learn from it?
I learned that in life you get what you pay for, and that the same rings true with hosting. I was there when Heartbleed and WannaCry got exposed, those two vulnerabilities, and I had about 75 websites get hacked overnight because I was paying like $2 a month for hosting all 75 sites or something like that. And I worked 29 straight hours fixing all those hacked sites, and that's when I realized maybe I should look into paying a little bit more for hosting. And then I realized there was this whole thing called managed WordPress hosting. I was like, whoa, turns out other people have the same problem.
If something seems too good to be true, it probably is, right?
Right. I have this problem, and it looks like millions of others do. And someone started a
Only
business.
there was a solution. Yeah.
I was going to say my favorite thing, though, is as soon as I ask the question, Donata looks at Hans like, so what was your mistake?
There's a lot. Which one are you going to choose?
Yeah. So many.
I personally wish I would have known about the WordPress community sooner, because it's such a nice community and people are so supportive, and there's so many great resources out there. And for a while there, it kind of felt like, we were just on our own. And you kind of have to figure this stuff out on your own. And there's so many mistakes that people have made that you can learn from without actually going through those mistakes again. And there's friends that you can make in this community too, which is not very common in, networking events or business communities. And people are really helpful and really kind. And I think that's something that I wish I would have learned earlier.
Yeah, I love this community too. It's pretty amazing. What's your proudest WordPress moment?
Hans?
Meeting Donata.
Oh, so lame.
That is though. That was my favorite part. Fell in love with her.
All
Moment
the
I saw
feels.
her.
All the feels.
Yeah,
You're the
that was like a total turd, but I'm gonna say our website.
I love it. That's awesome. At first I was like,
I'm still meeting you.
No, it's fine.
I think it's fun. Yeah, I mean, nobody else has ever said meeting Donata for this answer. So
True.
If I had to put a second one, so that meeting Donata up there with another one way down low would be the first time I built a website on WordPress. That was just, and I was stuck between Joomla and WordPress, and it was just sheer luck. I just picked WordPress. I was just like, all right, both these YouTube videos are telling me Joomla, WordPress. I just picked WordPress, and I was just from there on out. I'm like, oh, this is amazing, and then it was, that was 8 years ago. So yeah, that was awesome.
that's pretty good. I remember that the first time I did that, I was like, everybody can see my work. And then I was like, I mean, like what, all two people that are going to look at it, but still it's out there in the world.
the most liberating thing, though. I feel like I had so much like ability. Like, what can I create now?
Exactly, like this all-knowing power. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you find a typo on page 3, and you're like, well, okay.
Yeah, and then you learn about custom post types are needed to achieve your dreams. Like,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. Now it's gonna take a little bit.
I have feet of clay, but I can still create.
Exactly.
If you weren't working in the current industry you're in, so let's take law off the table, let's take web design and all of that off the table. What's another career that you might like to attempt?
Wow, that's a hard one because my second one was going to be tax law, but I guess since law is off the table,
I'll jump in.
Okay.
I'll say mine. Acquisitions, and mergers and acquisitions, investment banking. I know that's kind of like a stickler area where like, high and mighty, like, rich people kind of like flock to or whatever. But that's a transitionary periods of with companies is something I've now experienced a few times. And I see why it is just in such little amounts of time, so much happens. And like being a part of that, I think would be cool. So
I think I probably want to be like a librarian or something connected to Harry Potter. Like one of those people that build the sets or something, because that'd be so much fun. Or like a book critic, and I could just tell everybody I love their books.
Nice.
I'd be the worst critic ever.
Or submarine like guide, tour guide or something.
Oh yeah, I'm like really into submarines, so I'd love to be like a submarine tour guide, or like even be on a submarine if I wasn't so scared of water. But it'd be cool.
You reminded me of my one Harry Potter thing. Okay, so I've only ever seen the movies, didn't read the books. People can, send me hate mail if they want. But my daughter, when she was younger, it's like, Mom, could we go to the midnight movie as soon as it's open, whatever. So I took her to see all the Harry Potter movies. So I'm in bed one night and I'm dreaming about being in the Harry Potter movie. Now I wasn't dreaming about being actually in the wizard world. I was dreaming about being an actor on the set.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I know, weird, right? So I'm dreaming about being an actor on the set, and the costumer comes over and puts my black robe on me, like I'm in Hogwarts, right? And I do this spin, and like the robes go flying out like this. Only in reality, I was spinning in my bed all the way out onto the floor. So I literally fell out of bed. Woke up because in my dream I was spinning. Look at my robe. So
well, if I had that kind of experience, I'd hate Harry Potter too.
I was like 43 years old, falling out of bed. Anyway, moving on to the next question.
The only time you've fallen out of bed?
Well, as an adult.
Yeah? So just this one Harry Potter nightmare that you had.
I mean, I'm sure as a kid I fell out of bed once or twice. I remember my mom putting the railings on, so, whatever.
The last memorable moment was at 43, putting on a wardrobe for the Harry Potter set.
Not even in the wizard world. Yeah. No, just an actor.
No, just an actor. Well, I mean, I always wanted to be an actor, so maybe that was more important to me, but it's like, look at my robe spinning right out of bed. Yeah, so anyway, moving right along. What's something on your bucket list? Do you have similar, like each of you do a bucket list item for me?
You say it at the same time, or should we?
I don't know. It might not be the same one.
I know ours is different. I know mine's
different.
You
can say yours.
I want to get the Cybertruck. I want it. I want Elon Musk's Cybertruck. I know it's disgusting and ugly and terrible, but I want it. I want it in my driveway. I want to go fishing with it. I want to go camping with it. I want people to stare at me as I drive that ugly, beautiful thing down the street.
It's so hideous.
It is so ugly.
It's so ugly. I'm in complete agreement. I love it. I don't know why. There's this part of me that just thinks it's beautiful.
Can't you just buy an old
like a Termageddon mobile? It literally looks like a Termageddon mobile. We can wrap it. That should be a business expense.
That should not be a business expense.
It should be a business expense.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Totally just connect the dots here.
I think for me,
I'm so happy right now.
Going with the Harry Potter theme, going to the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
In Orlando?
No, in London.
Oh, I don't know what this is.
I think there is one in London where you like actually go through the streets and stuff and all of that. So we're going to an event in London next year. So I'm hoping that we can do that, which would be awesome.
Nice.
That
If I
would
get
be
the
a lot of
truck,
fun.
we'll do that.
Yeah. There's such a disparity in the cost of those two things. I'm just saying.
I know.
Oh yeah. And mine isn't even like I just want to go there on like a solo trip. No, it's like connected to an actual trip that we have to do. So
Yeah.
it's not even just that expensive versus for you it's like 40 grand. But,
50.
you know.
I want the expensive version.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure to write that down so I
Thank you.
remember which one.
And then you got to throw a couple extra grand in there just to wrap the thing in Termageddon mode.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
true.
yeah.
Oh, Termageddon wrap. I love it. I want that so bad now.
Oh,
We'll have it sponsored by WPCoffeeTalk like in the back.
little coffee cup coming out, like the exhaust
Yes.
will have like the steam off the coffee cup.
Very good.
I like it.
Okay, this next one is my favorite. So show us or tell us. I mean, they're all my favorites, but show us or tell us one of your hidden talents, your secret talents that people in the WordPress community might not know about you. Now, I'll tell you, I've had people dance, I've had people sing, I've had people pick up a saxophone off the floor and play music for me. So anything goes.
All right.
I don't know if this one's going to be that fun, but I can speak Lithuanian.
That's cool. So say, I love WP Coffee Talk in Lithuanian.
Aš labai myliu WP Coffee Talk.
I love it. That's awesome.
There you go.
Say, we are going to get a Tesla Cybertruck and drive it all over America in the Termageddon wrapped vehicle.
Well, I can't lie to these nice people.
I love it. She's like, I'm a lawyer. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Not being held to that. Yeah.
So it's dark outside, but I'm not good or great really, but I love to woodwork. So I have a chicken coop outside that I made that I'm really proud of. It's like 12 feet high. And it's like, yeah, it's really big and it only holds 3 chickens because we only have 3. It can hold more. But anyways, yeah, I love woodworking.
It's 12 feet high. It only holds 3 chickens. There are 200-pound chickens, but
yeah, they're beasts. Chicken beasts.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's my last question, other than how do we find you on social media and online?
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's Termageddon.com. Any social media, it's at Termageddon. You can always email me at Donata, DONATA, @Termageddon.com.
And I'm on Twitter a lot. Deep Space Hans is my handle.
I love it. I love it. I was like, it's almost like Han Solo.
Yeah, and I've had it for a very long time. I love that. It's who I am. Just kind of out in outer space at all times, 24/7.
So here's a funny story about Star Wars is I saw Star Wars in the theater when it first came out. So we're talking what, 75, 76, whatever it was. And only last week when I read an article about Han Solo, that he was like a space cowboy, like, and that he was just like a cowboy, really. I never made the connection because he didn't wear the cowboy hat. And I was like, he was the first space cowboy. I didn't even know that. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I kind of always thought of him as a space, like rogue cowboy kind of guy.
yeah.
I guess I never thought cowboy, but yeah.
Yeah. But
Did he
you
have
think about
cowboy
his outfit, well,
Yeah.
but he had the vest and he had the
leather,
holster.
Yeah, that
So
makes
it's like-
sense.
Oh, the holster. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
Well,
sense.
see, I'm not the first one to not know that, I guess.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, this has been awesome. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No.
No,
Thank you so much for the
Thank you
time
for
and the
having
opportunity.
us.
I'm so happy
Oh.
chocolate chip cookies put us together. So.
Yeah.
Me too. Thanks so much for being here, for sharing what you guys do. Really appreciate it. So happy to have a couple more friends in the WordPress community and look forward to seeing you at a future event, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day. And goodbye to everybody out in Coffee Talk world.
Bye-bye.
Bye.